Welcome back to my workshop. Now today I'm going to make a plaque for a newborn baby. I wasn't planning on doing this yet, but the newborn baby has decided to come weeks early, so now is the time. Now this is baby Willow. She's been born, she's tiny, little tiny thing. And all I'm going to do is make a plaque with her name on it and the time and date of her birth. Okay, and for that we're going to use the CNC machine for some of it and then cut it out on the scroll saw and the bandsaw for the rest of it. Okay, so let's go over to the CNC machine and I'll show you my design. Okay, so I've quickly sorted out design and here it is here. It's just basically a willow tree. Looks a bit like a palm tree, but it's actually a willow tree. And also the word or the name Willow. And the idea is I'm going to carve it out and then I'm going to cut around the outside here with the bandsaw or the scroll saw. So it's almost like individual letters. Then I'm going to cut it along the bottom so it can mount flat onto a base. Then I'll probably colour the leaves, probably a green colour. Okay, so what's it going to look like? So I've selected all the vectors and then I think for this one I'm going to V carve it. Okay, so I'm going to be using a V carving bit. Probably want it to be about 6mm deep. I'm going to use a V carve bit, which is a 60-degree bit. Then let's have a look, see what it looks like. So basically have a quick preview. Yeah, like the tree, that looks okay. The word looks okay. Don't know if this is entirely what I'm after at the moment, but all I can do is I can try this. I'll probably cut it into MDF first to see how it looks. Yeah, let's give that a go. Okay, the materials I'm going to use is I've got an old drawer front here and I've got a side of a cabinet, which is what I'm going to use. This is going to be for the base and this is going to be for the words. Okay, but first of all I'm going to cut them out on MDF just to make sure the design is okay. Right, so I've cut the first one out and I've cut around the edge of it with the bandsaw and the scroll saw. This is going to be the basic design. So we've got a willow tree here and the word willow. Now this was cut using my original choice, which was V carve. Okay, so I've basically carved it so it's carved out in the middle of the word. Now I didn't really like this much, so I had another go with MDF and it's this one. Now basically what I've done is I've used the same 60-degree V bit, but I've actually carved it on the line. This came out okay. I like the tree, but I'm not necessarily over keen on the words. Okay, so I think I'm going to try it differently by using an end mill just to cut out the words. Okay, so I'm going to do that and see what that comes out like. Right, so we're back over at the CNC machine. There's our original design, but this time I just want the words. So I have to select the words. This obviously comes in individual vectors, but now I've only got the words selected. We close that because that was our preview from last time. And this time I'm going to use a profile cut instead of the V carve. And I want to go all the way through. So the material is going to be 15mm deep, and I'm going to use a 3mm end mill, which is one of these things. Okay, so the idea is I'm going to go all the way through and I want to cut on the outside of the lines. Okay, this should give me a profile all the way round. Okay, so we're going to reset that, have a quick preview, see what it looks like. Yeah, that's more like it. So it's more of a cutout rather than an engraving. Yeah, this is more of what I was looking for. Right, the only problem is when you cut this out, there's nothing to stop the bits that you've cut out from flying across the CNC machine. So what we have to do is we have to add some tabs. So using the same cutting principles, we're going to cut on the outside, but this time we're going to add tabs. Now each of these tabs are going to be probably about 1mm wide and 2mm deep. Okay, and you can edit the amount of tabs you have. If you look here you can see how many tabs you have. If you want to increase the number of tabs you've got, then obviously you put them closer together. changing this value here. Okay, and so what they'll do is once you cut them out, these tabs remain and it stops it from falling or going free. Okay, so what we can do now is we put the tabs in, we can have another calculate, have a quick look to see what they look like. Okay, so now if we zoom into this, you can actually see the little tabs. Okay, and this should stop the bits of wood from flying free and potentially causing anyone any damage. Okay, so and on the back you can see them, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Then I can cut these out afterwards. Right, so I think we'll go for that as a second attempt. Okay, so we pulled this off the CNC machine. Now it's this in two stages. Now the first stage is the willow tree. Okay, this is engraved, but it doesn't go all the way through. But the word goes all the way through. Okay, so you can probably see me. Hello. Okay, but the reason this is not falling out is because I've got tabs on there. Okay, so if we look on the back, what we can see is little teeny tiny tabs. Okay, and that stops the middle bit falling out. Okay, so what I've got to do now is cut these tabs to remove the inside. I'll give you a closer look while I'm doing that. Right, hopefully I'm going to be able to do this with a scalpel. Now each of these tabs, oh, it's nearly come out. Each of these tabs, oh, it has come out. I've still got to do the W. Each of the tabs are only about 1 millimetre long and about 2 millimeters deep. So in theory, I could just cut through these and release the letters. Okay, so there's me there. Obviously needs cleaning up. So now what I want to do, I've released the words. I want to cut out this willow shape. My prototype that I made earlier on, okay, this is all I want to do. I want to cut it out and then profile around the outside. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the bandsaw for this, okay, and then do the final detail on the scroll saw. I put a very thin, I think it's a 1/4 inch blade in my bandsaw, so that way I can get some quite tight corners. Okay, let's cut this. Right, so now I've cut the willow tree out here. Yeah, that's okay. Obviously it needs sanding down because it still looks like the side of a cupboard. And the words willow, okay, obviously needs sanding down. And also I've got to find a way of making this dot on the eye float in midair. we'll figure something out. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this drawer front into a base, and then I want to engrave some words on here. Okay, so I think first thing to do, get it on the table saw, cut out this groove, and then see what I've got to play with. Okay, so now I've got my base cut to its approximate size. What I want to do is quickly engrave the full name and the date of birth onto the base before I profile the outside. So I've now got my CNC machine set up. I've got my center point marked on here. So basically I've just got to start it and let it do its carving with my new spindle. It's so quiet. So while the CNC machine is doing its thing, what I want to do is quickly on here, the leaves, I just want to touch in with a little bit of green paint. Now I'm just using some normal acrylic paint. The rest of it is covered in the previous varnish, so that will protect the wood. So once I've painted it in, sanded it all off, just the leaves will be green. Okay, so the base now is cut to size. I've filled some words out. Now the corners look a bit harsh, yeah, considering it's for a baby, a bit harsh. So all I've done is I've marked on the corner a little round over on each corner, and then what I'll do is I'll quickly run that round the sander and then probably profile the whole lot with a router. Okay, so I've just routed this. I did video it, but all you got was the back of my head. Bad positioning. Right, this is routed now. Got this sort of profile on it. So yeah, that should be okay. Okay, so the next bit now is the hole that's in the middle here. I don't want that anymore, obviously, because that's where the handle used to be on the front of a drawer. So I'm going to fill that. I'm going to fill it from the back through to the front. Then I'm going to use some of this wood filler, which is a 2-part wood filler. Okay, you literally mix some of this with some hardener. Not too much. Double this. Right, mix up. And stick it in the hole. Right, so now everyone's favourite part, sanding. Let's go! Right, so now the base is done, all the bits and pieces are done. I'm ready to stick my willow tree onto the base. What I've done is I've drilled a couple of holes in the back and countersunk those, which I'll be putting a screw in. But to hold it in place, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some CA glue to the bottom of this to hold it in place first. Now, this may look like a bit of an advert, but about 6 months ago, Starbond approached me and offered me loads of this, which is their version of CA glue. Now, I'm going to use this one, which is the medium, but they sent me all of these, okay? Let's have a quick look and see what we got. So these were all sent to me to quickly review. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use them over the next few months and see if they're any good. Basically I've got a gap filler thick, which is like a thick CA glue, very slow curing. These should be good for filling gaps. And I've got various different colours as well. I've got black, brown, I think there's brown as well. It's medium thick, medium, and I think this one's medium thick as well, but brown. And then I've got some thin, very thin, see-through. Okay, these all cure at different times. They've all got their own different uses. But for this, I'm going to use some medium. I'm going to put a dab of this on, use a bit of the accelerator, and then see what it's like. Hopefully, it's going to be okay. Right, well, I'll put a couple of dabs on, put a bit of accelerator on. Yeah, it's stuck, look at that. It's quite impressive. Right, I'll still get some screws in it though, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same glue to stick the rest of the word on. Right, so this is now stuck very well. So Starbond, excellent. I should be using the rest of the products over the next few months. What I'm going to do now is give this a coat of Danish oil, this stuff. Okay, this is Georgian medium oak, so it's got a bit of a stain in it. I'm going to give this a coat and then hopefully it'll look all right. Probably need to give it a couple of coats and leave it overnight. Right, let me get on with that. Right, so that's it, it's all finished. Had a bit of a reaction. The Danish oil didn't quite work properly, so I've had to clear that off and I've ended up waxing it. But yeah, it's finished, it's a nice thing. That should go on their mantelpiece or on a windowsill somewhere. Yeah, it's got my little badge on the back here. And also I put some felt on the bottom to stop it scratching whatever it's put on. Okay, so I'm now going to get this to Willow's new mummy and daddy, and I hope they like it. Right, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. For the base, and then this side of a cupboard for the actual words. The problem was, I don't know. Okay. Okay. Let's try that again because that was a bit rubbish.